This upgrade to Adagio BankRec version 8.1e has a number of new features and improvements, especially in the area of bank reconciliation. Previous releases of BankRec, when using the import reconciliation process and auto-matching, would in some cases auto-match payments even though the check numbers were different. Also, transactions that cleared the bank far after the issue date would be auto-matched, and transactions that cleared the bank prior to the issue date would never be auto-matched. Now you have more control over when auto-matching occurs so that you can choose to make things work easier. To set up these options, use the Edit and Banks to set up the options. On the Interface tab, if you have electronic reconciliation enabled, then you can set up the auto-match rules. By default, auto-matching will always occur if the reference and the amount and the date are the same. If any checks are not auto-matched in that first phase, then a second phase will occur where you can choose to look at just the date and the amount. In this release, you can now turn off this second phase so that it requires reference, amount, and date to all be the same. In the case of deposits and transfers, when the reference tends not to be the same, then you can choose to continue to auto-match that way, but still require the check number to auto-match. If you'd like to ensure that stale-dated checks are not auto-matched, you can set the number of days old that you can allow clearing. Also, you can choose to allow checks to pre-clear the bank by a certain number of days. Using this option requires a reference match regardless of any other options that you have selected. When we save these options and take a look at the reconciliation, now when we click the Auto Match button, checks will not get auto-matched when the references are different. Also, checks that cleared the bank far in the future will not be auto-matched if it's outside the day range. And checks will pre-clear if it's within the range, or in this case, if it's outside the range, they won't be auto-matched. Deposits, because the reference didn't match, will not allow the pre-clear. In comparison, if you disable the second phase of auto-matching completely by date and amount and require a reference for all transactions, this will tend not to match deposits or transfers. When posting a bank reconciliation and integrated to Adagio Payables, an option existed in previous versions to send pending statuses to the check reconciliation there. However, it was still required to open Payables and the check reconciliation to post the changes. This release now allows a third integration setting to do the complete processing, including the post in Payables check reconciliation. When this is set, and I post in BankRec, then launch Adagio Payables. When I open the check reconciliation, you'll see that the statuses have already been updated. I'm not required to post. You'll also notice that descriptions that were entered in BankRec for the reconciliation will flow through to Adagio Payables. The check reconciliation posting journal and the transactions that will be sent to Ledger from Payables are also updated as part of this process. Processing reconciliations does not allow you to enter a statement date that is earlier than the last statement date. However, if you made a mistake in the previous reconciliation and entered the wrong date, it makes it difficult to continue from here. Now, you have the opportunity of changing the statement dates from the maintenance menu and update statement date. Access the bank where the statement date requires correction and edit. All of the previous statement dates that have been performed in the past will be listed here. Click on the row that you like to edit and change the date to what you require. Notice that you have a particular range of dates that you are allowed to enter, and you'll be prevented from changing it to a date outside an invalid range. So if we change it to the correct date, we can post that change, and this change will be saved to the application log that maintains changes to the database. So now when you access the reconciliation, you'll be able to continue with the appropriate date. Another scenario involves creating new banks. In previous releases, if you made a mistake in entering either the opening balance or the last statement date or balance, you had no opportunity of editing these values and had to post some transaction in order to make a correction. Now, you can edit the bank directly, and as long as you haven't posted a reconciliation for this bank, the opening balance and last statement balance and date are all editable, even if you have entered transactions, posted batches, and started the reconciliation.